Hey, sorry to jump in, but I'm not hearing anything. Is the speaker on mute still?
I've got the same experience.
Okay.
Okay, hold on just 1 second. Okay, I'm so sorry about that. Let me start it over. Is that better?
No, we're not hearing anything. Now we're just seeing lovely you.
I'm so sorry. Okay, just a second.
It happens. Now we see the screen.
Do you see her, but you can't hear it?
We can see her, but we can't hear her. Just make sure on your microphone that it's pulling the sound from your computer. Now we hear her just louder. Make her louder.
Can y'all hear now?
Yes, yay.
Okay, I'm gonna start it again. I'm so sorry.
Hi everyone, and welcome to the Age of Conversation Summit. We're going to be talking about the one where we talk about imposter syndrome. My name is Kari Messenger, and I'm a Senior Meetings Manager at AMC Association Management Center in Chicago, Illinois. Before we get started today, I just wanted to talk a little more about myself so you can get to know me. I am a Purdue University graduate, and I graduated in the hospitality major. After I finished school, I went to a foreign internship in Nanjing, China. Following when I came back from Nanjing, China, I started at Smith Buckland in their events department, first working on registration and then conventions. Following Smith Buckland, I went to the Academy of General Dentistry for a few years, and that got me to where I am now at Association Management Center as a Senior Meetings Manager. I served on the board for AWE, Association for Women in Events, and I recently have earned my DES. So if you have any questions about that process, I'd be happy to talk about that. So to get started today, we will be talking about first, what is imposter syndrome? And then why do so many of us suffer from imposter syndrome? And then we'll wrap up by talking about how to make imposter syndrome the key to your success. Before we dive in, I do want to address that imposter syndrome is seen throughout all different ages. It can happen more often in those groups that are under-recognized, so I do want to take a moment to recognize those groups. That would include the LGBTQ community, as well as minorities and those with disabilities, age differences, or religion and beliefs. So this point of view is going to be coming from me as a cisgender straight white woman. So I wanted to keep that in mind and acknowledge as we move forward with this presentation. So what is imposter syndrome? The way I like to describe it is you're sitting in a meeting and you look around the room and you see all of these amazing, successful people. And then you stop and wonder, why am I here? How did I get here? They're going to find out I don't belong. And that voice telling you that, that's imposter syndrome. So it's always saying, what am I doing here? I need to get out of here. I don't belong. So the idea of imposter syndrome is that you're only succeeding due to your luck and not because of your talents or qualifications. It was first identified in 1978 by psychologists Pauline Rose Clance and Suzanne Imes. And over 70% of people experience this syndrome at some point in their life. And that's according to the International Journal of Behavioral Science. So as we talk through this and think you have imposter syndrome, you're definitely not alone, as 70% of people have had this at some point in their lives. So you're definitely in good company. So, but why? So talking about why do so many of us suffer from this? And of course, there's not just one reason. One thing that has been found is personality traits. So anxiety. I know I personally suffer from anxiety being a meeting planner and ensuring everything needs to be perfect and in place and ready to go, and kind of always just nervous of what could happen next. Another reasoning is behavioral causes. So such as your childhood memories. So growing up, if you felt pressure from your parents to always have really good grades, or you're competing with a sibling about being better than that sibling, that creates the lovable where you keep trying to achieve to receive love. And then you just keep doing that. You keep working to achieve love, and then you're always following that and always looking for that, which can cause different imposter syndrome. And then another one is your environment. So not being surrounded by those that look or sound like you. So that's why it's so important to have representation at the table, because you are more likely to want to succeed to that area when you see someone like you already in that role. When you don't see someone like you, or making sure you're not surrounded by those that look like you or sound like you, it's that much easier to fall into feeling like you don't belong there, because you don't see anyone else that looks like you. So obviously, why would you belong there? So now I want to talk about the time I first heard about imposter syndrome in an educational setting. So earlier this year, in 2020, right before COVID hit, I was able to attend the Association for Women in Events annual conference, Elevate, and it was in Caesars, Las Vegas. And here I met this amazing group of women that I really connected with, and we enjoyed the conference together, learning about ourselves and more about the events industry. And one session that really stuck out to me was a session about imposter syndrome. And like I said, I've never seen anything like that being given in an educational setting. So I do want to talk about that time that I sat in the session and how it helped me grow and not be afraid of having imposter syndrome anymore. So our speaker was Jess Avro, and she's with the Cordette Health Company. And she held up this slide up on the screen during her presentation. And she had everyone go around the room and start saying, say these words out loud to yourself. I am strong and capable. I've earned my seat at the table. My opinion holds value. So everyone in the room said that out loud to themselves. Then Jess asked a volunteer to say them out loud. So the first person stood up and said, I am strong and capable. And Jess said, great, now say that like you really mean it. So the volunteer, straightened up a little bit more and said, I am strong and capable. And you could just feel the energy coming through that statement. And then, of course, I wanted to volunteer. So I stood up and said, I have earned my seat at the table. And just said, that's great, but now really give it to me like you mean it. So I said, I have earned my seat at the table. And I truly felt that power coming through me of, yes, I have earned my seat at the table. And then the final volunteer said, my opinions hold value. So since that conference, I took a picture of these words and I've kept it on my phone ever since. And when I'm feeling like I don't belong, or just I'm not feeling confident in where I am, I will look at these words and say them back to myself to remind me that I am strong and capable. I have earned my seat at the table. My opinion holds value. So now I'd like to take a moment for each of you, wherever you are, to say these words back to yourself after me. I am strong and capable. I have earned my seat at the table. My opinion holds value. I hope these words are strong and make a great impact to you as they have to me, and keep them for future references as well. So in these two pictures are both, obviously, and the first picture is me and my internship in China in 2009. And the second picture is of me in 2019 working at ANC as well as I used to show that I was a speaker for this wonderful event. And I want to share these 2 pictures with you because so much has changed for me personally and professionally during this time frame. Looking back at this picture from 2009, I was on my way to China. I applied for this internship that was through Purdue, and I interviewed, I had references, I went through the whole shebang, and I was chosen as one of 6 students to go to Nanjing, China and work in a hotel for 6 months. And when I was picked, it was beyond the most exciting thing that has ever happened to me. I felt so special to be recognized and so excited to go overseas and have this time to represent myself and my country. So when I arrived to China, that was the first time I really felt like an imposter. I was completely out of my comfort zone. I was in a new culture where I looked different. I had a different language that I spoke, and there were different traditions around me. And not only that, the other students that I was picked with seemed so together, and they had so much going for them. And I was like, wow, I totally get why they were picked for this program. And I don't know what I'm doing here. So that was one of my first experiences with imposter syndrome. So as I worked in China, I did my best to connect to the culture, meet new people, and remind myself that I wanted to be here and I deserved my place to be here. And that was my first dealing with what I didn't know until later would be imposter syndrome. After I came back from China, I started my career working in associations as well as in the meetings industry. And I kept having those feelings of being an imposter. What am I doing here? How did I get this job? Does anyone really care what I have to think? And there has been different skills and a mindset I have learned during this time and still leading up to this day of how I have dealt with imposter syndrome. So now I want to talk about those ideas and how I hope they can be the key to your success, as I feel they have been to mine. So, key to success. Get out of your comfort zone. And no, this doesn't mean you have to go to China. It means that right now, especially in quarantine, join a committee that you never thought you were qualified enough for, because you could bring amazing ideas and an outside perspective. And you want to get your name out there as well. So why not at least apply? Because even if you don't apply, your name will, or even if you apply, your name will at least be out there for more people to recognize and able to make more connections. And you become qualified by getting experience and being involved in different committees and things like that sort can really help you grow in that sense. My second note is lean into the awkwardness. If you have not met me in person, I would consider myself an awkward person. And for years, I didn't like that about myself. I didn't like that I wasn't, the smooth talker when you walked in the room or knew exactly what to say to get a conversation going. But over the years, I have embraced my awkwardness. And now when I go out and I meet new people and you just kind of start chatting and you start to connect on a whole different level of just you being you and everything funny and spunky about you is. And that works. So the next time you're in a conversation where you're like, oh no, this is getting strange and I don't know what to say, just go with it and see what happens. 9 times out of the 10, the person you're talking with is also feeling awkward. So just air it out and be in that awkward state together. And one of my favorite sayings, fake it till you make it. I was actually practicing this presentation with one of my colleagues and I brought up that point and she goes, oh my gosh, Kari, you do say that all the time. I said, I do? So it really is my mantra for this life is if you go into a room or you're somewhere where you're like, oh gosh, I don't feel like I'm the most expert on this subject, start to think about what you do know on that subject and work hard to get to that next level of understanding it. And while you're getting there, put on a smile and pretend everything's fine. Everyone loves someone that's calm and collected when they can come into the meeting, and just keep going with that. Like the more you give yourself the opportunity to learn, the more you'll be able to really know it at the end of the day. So definitely fake it till you make it. And something I do want to note on, when in doubt, be positive. That's something I've struggled with for years as well, looking at a situation and being like, oh, I can't do this. This is terrible. Woe is me. Everything's against me. And then slowly over the years, I look at a situation and say, okay, this is okay. This isn't what I expected, but I think this will be exciting. This could be interesting. This could be a new challenge. So looking at every situation you're thrown into of, okay, how can I make this fun? How can I make more positivity out of this? That will spread to others, and others will feel even more positive about the project and coming to you because they know they can have an open conversation with you as well. So I want to share this quote with you from the great Maya Angelou. I have written 11 books, but each time I think, uh-oh, they're going to find out now. I've run a game on everybody and they're going to find me out. So Maya Angelou was someone who talked about imposter syndrome for many, many years. And someone who is as amazing and smart as she is and accomplished so much felt this, it's okay for you and I to feel imposter syndrome going in somewhere, no matter how long you have been working on your craft or maybe experience something new. Everyone feels this. So please think of Maya as well as you're learning to work through different imposter syndrome situations. I wanted to close out by saying thank you so much. Thank you to the Age of Conversation Summit for having me. I'm truly honored to be a part of this summit and to speak with all of you today. I would love to connect, keep this conversation going or any other conversations going about imposter syndrome or the industry or how we're feeling about moving to virtual. Please feel free to contact me. Below I've listed my email as well as my LinkedIn. And I'm a huge fan of LinkedIn, so feel free to hit me up on there anytime. Thank you once again, and I appreciate your time.
All right, Kari, thank you so much for that. Now we're going to open it up to Q&A. Looks like we already have some awesome comments. Kari, can you unmute?
Yes, thank you everyone. Thank you so much for being here and listening to these thoughts. I think it's something that I'm always looking to grow on and talk more about, and I've really been blessed with all the different situations I have been put in throughout the times in my career, the last 10 years. And one thing too, always make sure you're out there volunteering, getting involved. I know even like this conference was such a great way to get involved. So if you have that opportunity, please do. I mean, for me, something that I went out there and got out of my comfort zone was coming on the AWE board, where I met Kari and many other great people as well. And that truly changed my career for the better and shaped me to where I am today. So I cannot say thank you enough.
All right, anybody have any questions? Any stories of feeling that imposter syndrome? All right, well, Kari, any last thoughts you want to leave with us before, well, I guess we still have 10 minutes. We don't want to jump off in case anybody's got questions.
Oh, do we have a question? I see someone's hand raised.
So, hi, my name is Petula. I'm a young, recent graduate into the events industry. And I know that I felt that a lot, the imposter syndrome a lot, in internship or in classes or in a capstone. And there was something, I took this exercise class a while back, and they said, the teacher at the front was yelling, you know, come on, ladies, practice makes progress, not practice makes perfect. And that kind of kept popping into my head every time I'd feel like, oh, I'm not good enough, or I'm not, my opinions are not, valid right now. I don't have the experience or anything. And I would just hear the little voice in the back of my head, like, practice makes progress, and you are enough. And then those statements that you just put up there, I've written them down probably 3 times now already. And I really like them. And the fact that you say you have them like on your phone, like, I want to find a way to make them my phone background. So I always see, like, I am strong and capable. I've earned my seat here, and my opinion holds value. I think that one is a really big one for me. That's important for me to, like, blow up, make it a poster, hang it above my bed. Like, so I really like that mantra, and like combining it with this idea that we're always growing, we're always learning.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you for sharing. I wrote that one down too. Practice makes progress. I'm going to add it to my list of things to keep talking about and telling myself, because truly, like you said, that last one too, it's just a constant reminder that, wow, my idea, yeah, this does count. This does happen. And yeah, just thinking about it and saying those words have been making all the difference. And I love that you took a session about it too, to really focus on that, because I'm excited to see that is happening more out there too. And we are talking about this because we're all feeling this way at one point or another.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for sharing. I appreciate it.
Thank you. This session was great.
Woohoo, thanks. Where are you out from, Petula?
I'm from Toronto.
Oh, okay. Awesome. Well, thanks for tuning in today.
Hey everyone. I just thought I would chime in. I had put on the chat about being passionate, and I think imposter syndrome is something I've dealt with for a long time. But being president of MPI Tennessee chapter last year, I always felt like I didn't belong there. Like I knew I was incredibly passionate about what I was doing and the group I was leading and the industry we're in. But I just kind of figured out that as long as you stay passionate about it, even if you're not 100% confident or positive it's the right decision, people will buy into that passion, and it trickles through the groups you're leading and all of that. So that's been a way that I have learned to combat that with me. So maybe that will help some others as well.
Yeah, I love that. That is so important too, because looking back when I was even more nervous in situations than I am today, I'm like, how did I get through that? And it has to be the passion, to wanting to be there and wanting to be part of this industry and wanting to go for your dreams. So I am totally on board with that, with the passion. And it is just, and going back to that, which I always love, fake it till you make it, because like your background of being the president, I'd say, psh, she would never have imposter syndrome. So thank you for sharing that with me too, with us too today, because I think that's important to know and hear from everyone.
Yeah, that's what I thought about when you put up the fake it till you make it. I was like, well, my passion covered that. Sometimes I didn't know exactly, but seemed like we did. So
Yeah, that's awesome.
Hey, Kari Messenger. I really love, and Shannon, I love fake it till you make it. I said that for a long time until someone told me face it till you make it. And I'll type it down here, which I like even better because it's like you're leaning into it, like you're really going for it, whether you believe it or not. So I'm all about face it till you make it now. And it just makes me feel like, I don't have to fake anything. Like I've earned my place at the table. I just have to face it, get through it. And then, if I fail, like no big deal. Like I'm just going to figure out a way to move on, to grow from it and be better. So I say I like fake it till you make it, but I changed it to face it till you make it.
I love that. Yes, I wrote that one down too. That's fantastic. I love that feeling too. And that is more like on par with how we're feeling too. So thank you for sharing, Kari.
Anybody else before we move on to the next sessions? If you want to continue the conversation, Kari had put her email and her LinkedIn, and I don't know if you'll make it over to the little coffee perk area, but all the speakers are heading over there to just keep the conversation going.
Okay, great. Yeah, I'll put my LinkedIn chat too, but feel free to reach out to me. I truly appreciate everyone's time and our discussion we had today too. Is very, very cool. I really appreciate it.
And I'm so sorry about the technical difficulties in the beginning.
Oh, please, we're planners. We go with the flow. We don't, it's all good. So don't even worry about it.
Thanks for everyone's grace. I appreciate that.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
All right. Thanks, everybody. If you want to stay in this room, feel free. Oh, who is
Here's
that?
my cat, my sweet cat that was with me the whole time too. So even if I was nervous, she was right here. So she had to say hi.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
All right. Well, thanks, everybody. Feel free to stay in this room or head over to the other ones. We have Marie Claire next, and she's talking about being an entrepreneur. But hope you guys enjoyed it.
Thank you. Appreciate everyone.
Thank you all. Bye-bye.